Well, ahoy there, mateys! Now, according to me map, we've landed on the crystal shores of a bountiful land. A land filled with great deals. Need bed bumps for the scallywags' quarters? We've got it all, and at prices so low, you'll think that you're robbing me. Come visit Captain Clark's Ottoman Empire, and the only thing you'll be wanting is more space to keep it all.
What is going on, movie lovers, and welcome back to the 508 Podcast. I am Francisco.
And I'm Sir Frazier.
And on today's episode, we are joined by a third co-host. You've seen her before, or I say you heard her before on a past episode. She is the owner, operator, curator of Onyé Naturals, a fellow movie lover, Jazzy.
Hello, hello.
Yes, so she is joining us today to review the, I wouldn't say critically acclaimed, but the movie that is sweeping the theaters right now and collecting very heavily at the financial box office. Today, we are reviewing Backrooms. But before we dive into that, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, a share, a comment. How did you feel about Backrooms? Do you feel like it's one of the better horror movies that come out recently or of the 21st century? But let us know. Sir Frazier, tell the people about Backrooms.
Man, so this movie's directed by Kane Parsons, a.k.a. Kane Pixels, a.k.a. the director of A24's highest grossing film of all time.
It's a little shot to the gut, man, because I really like Everything Everywhere.
Yeah. No, not to be confused. This is not their best movie, but it's the highest grossing in North America. And worldwide, it's just behind Marty Supreme. So, I mean, they are, this movie has enjoyed a lot of success for a movie that just dropped.
And quickly, too, I don't want to interrupt you, sir, but it's it said also it is the third highest horror film of 2026 behind Obsession, which is also sweeping the theaters right now, and Scream 7 that came out earlier. So it's in good company. And right below that is Send Help, which was also I'm gonna say fantastic, but like it's a solid movie though.
Nice. So this movie stars Chiwetel Ejiofor.
We try to rehearse that.
Yeah. We'll be referring to him as Clark.
Yeah. From here on out.
And Renate, is it Renate Reinsve? I'm not sure how you pronounce her name. Mark Duplass. Finn Bennett and Lukita Maxwell. I really want to give a shout out to the cinematographer, Jeremy Cox. This movie, the visuals of this one just look excellent, as did the set design. But yeah, I mean, this is one of those movies, man. Like the whole lore behind it is so interesting. You know, this movie is a product of creepypasta. For those of you who don't know, this is like the creepypasta is a digital like urban legend kind of fiction that's just been generated over the years. Another example some of you may recognize is the Slender Man. That was another popular creepypasta kind of horror like storyline that came out of just that time. And Backrooms, I mean, this movie starts with an image, right?
Yeah.
That dropped in.
Isn't that one of his YouTube videos?
Old footage.
All of the found footage for the company we come to learn of as Async. This kind of somewhat nefarious seeming corporation. Damn it! Damn these companies.
Yeah. Dude, like when it opens though, like I love seeing like, I mean, I'm not a huge found footage type of like fan, I would say. Like even what was like a Cloverfield is one pops in my mind. Blair Witch Project is probably the most famous.
Oh, yeah.
Or even the Paranormal Activities. I didn't like any of those movies, to be honest. So like honestly, like I'll be completely honest, like walking into this movie, I wasn't going into it with the highest of expectations, because watching the trailer, I was just like, I feel like this movie could either really like lure me in and like really catch me, or I'm just gonna like really not mess with it. But how you started with like the found footage, I was felt like, okay, we're kind of working up an uphill battle right now. But how you kind of build out like the room and just like the creepy setting, and you're showing that there is some sort of creature or something nefarious like in these rooms, in these back rooms. It definitely like it started off on like a good note for me, at least.
Well, something that I did want to say just real quickly is the color palette in this movie really kind of inverts just the traditional use of darkness and horror, similar to Midsummer, because we're often in these really bright like a bile type yellow with these bright overhead lights. There are areas that are dark for sure in the back rooms, but overall, a lot of what we are exposed to is just really bright. And I think that it's effectively used in building tension, because even though you can see everything, you're in this huge, just labyrinthian maze. And there's no, oftentimes people who stumble in this, especially in the kind of the Kane Pixels, the features that he had done up to this, stumble into this world. So there's no clear exit. Fortunately for Clark, he's clear on his entry point. But that's something I just wanted to call out, was just like the bright colors and how they still kind of didn't distract from like the tension and the dread that was pretty prevalent for me in this whole movie.
Yeah. I mean, like when you're introduced to this movie, you're following Chiwetel's character, and he's obviously like, he's working at this furniture store, and he's like seeing his therapist, who's like the other main character of this movie, and he's obviously going through a lot of stuff. He's going through some issues with his wife, especially when they have a moment with the therapist, and they're having like
that exercise
scene. Yeah, and honestly, like Chiwetel maybe doesn't get enough credit for being an actor and the thespian he is. Wasn't he in 12 Years a Slave?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, he's just a fantastic dude. I mean, obviously he's been in the MCU, but you're really seeing like how well he can perform, like in that scene, and then also in like the dinner scene, I would say, when you get later into the film. But you're following him, and he's going through some stuff with his wife, and maybe like there's bills like piling up on his head, and the furniture store is not doing well, so he's trying to get customers in. And so like when he stumbles onto the back rooms, and honestly, I feel like the story fits pretty well with like how he stumbles onto it. He's just going into the basement. He's just walking by, kind of anything it is, something catches your eye, and he sees it, and he sees the little sliver in the wall, and he just walks up to it, and he immediately goes inside. Which this kind of also...
It kind of shocks me, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Because normally you see something like that, you're like, nope, and then leave. But he's like, I want more.
That's what I was like.
Me.
This lends to a little bit of a negative, because I wish they would have taken a little inspiration from Barbarian. When in Barbarian, the woman, if you're familiar with that movie, she's at an Airbnb. She goes into the basement, and then she takes back like a...
She did all the wrong things.
Yeah, she took back something, and it showed like a hole that led to like a deeper basement that wasn't like lit at all. And she was just like, nope. And then it cuts to the next scene. She's upstairs and she's doing something. I wish they would have did that a little bit more with Chiwetel's character, because speaking as like, I mean, come on now, like we all know like the trope in horror movies and the African American community. You stumble on some sort of like weird portal wall, and you're going into this room, and you're like, what the fuck?
You leave.
You leave immediately.
Yeah.
And he ends up going through the back rooms, and I'm like, bro, you're taking one too many lefts and rights right now.
Don't forget the stop sign, because there was a warning, and no one paid attention to that.
Yeah.
But he kept going. Yeah, pots. It's like... Yeah.
Something that I did want to say, just to back up for a moment, is that I really appreciate the use of exposition for Clark's background in the therapy setting, and that reenactment, that exercise that they were doing, because it did a really effective job of emotionally grounding us in his life and all the things that he's wrestling with. And it also is giving clues about his drinking. And when we fast forward just a little bit and we see him sleeping at his furniture store, I think that all adds to his isolation. It's really sharp, like underlines his emotional state. And then the details too in those scenes, right, where he's wearing the architectural design T-shirt from the 70s. We're getting a glimpse of his frustration in life and his frustrated ambitions that have not materialized. He's not where he thought he would be or where he wants to be. And then the sense of humiliation when he's dressed up as the pirate, I thought was a really interesting insight into that part of him, and why that copy was an interesting insight into the back rooms, and what it duplicates is the fact that it latched onto that version of him.
Yeah.
I think that was like, there's a lot to, I think, potentially unpack in terms of what exactly this space copies and why.
Yeah. Honestly, that's kind of where it lends into like some of the negatives, I suppose, because I feel like this director, Kane Parsons, he wrote it as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like I feel like he builds like a pretty good lore like with this Backrooms, as far as like even like the setting, which is like a big shout out to like the set design, like how they filmed this movie. I feel like are some of like the highest points of this movie, are just like the technical aspects.
Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say like just like the set design, like however many rooms did they actually use to like make this film, and just obviously the performances by the two actors, and the sound like of like the creature, like the footsteps, like when they're in the dinner.
Which, by the way, that's a real person. Is a basketball player, a Russian basketball player.
Was that the same dude that they use in Alien Romulus?
I'm not sure about that.
His name is Robert Croxy. I know I'm butchering that, but he's literally skinny and tall, and that's a real person.
I want to say that might be the same dude that was in Alien Romulus that they use at the very end. So it's like it looks more practical, and like obviously they use effects and whatnot.
Just thought that was kind of interesting.
That's pretty cool. Well, that's not breaking the bank either, too.
But I think the whole, like, you know how we were talking about how, like, in tropes, we see a weird thing, we leave. And he kept going clearly because of his issues. Like, what does he have in the real world? This is better.
Yeah.
And then the pirate thing, I think, is the one he's most embarrassed of. And that one stuck. And that's the one that manifested into, like, this creepy, awful thing. Because that, I think, got him.
Maybe that was like his lowest point.
That was his lowest point.
He definitely was at a very low point, 100%.
Maybe that's why like it copied her at that point at the end.
Well, because we'll get
in the interrogation room.
Well, that's like she turned it to her mom, technically. Because remember the flashbacks, her mom was kind of not in her right mind.
Yeah.
And she eventually, got committed. So her kind of sitting like that.
Well, exactly. Maybe that's why, because now she's actually starting to like go into her mind.
Is her mom?
She's starting to really become her, and like that's why. Maybe that's where like it copies you when you're at your lowest point or something like that.
Yeah. No, I think that's interesting, because one of the things that I came across and I actually agreed with is this idea that the Backrooms copy the emotional impression of places. I think that is pretty clear, because I remember very early on when Clark is first exploring the back rooms, and we see the that purple chair that he sat in for the commercial. It's oversized, but it's half sinking into the floor. Like just the fact that it drew that memory, which was clearly a frustration point for him, right? But one of the things that you were talking about, just to circle back to the technical aspects of this movie and the set design. So I read that they had 30,000 square foot across 4 stages. And then they had, some visual effects as well. But they had a good amount to work with. And boy, did they do an effective job for me.
Yeah.
I thought like it felt endless. I thought, when they go down to rescue, what is his name? I'm kind of missing
the boyfriend?
Was it Bobby? Bobby. When Bobby is dragged down, that was a huge highlight for me. But when they start going after trying to find him, the footage, the handheld footage. This is where this is one of the things I did. I thought that was an excellent use of that. Especially when it's picked up when he's trying to communicate with Kat through that wall. But I love the found footage aspects of this. I think the way that they started was super effective for me. It really kind of took me back to a movie that I think you really appreciate, which was the found footage aspect in Aliens, when they're first going, when the Marines are first going down, when they figured out where all the civilians are. Remember? And we go in back and forth with found footage as we're getting the POV of the Marines. Yeah. And similarly, I think it makes it feel more claustrophobic in those moments.
Yeah.
Because this is presumably like you're getting this footage. It's like, this guy's all alone. You're very much in his state. Like you can't help but be, because he's panicked and all you see is this open space. So I thought it did a really great way of setting the tone early on. It also introduced us to async, which, and this is going to be a knock for me when I think about this movie more broadly, is that if you're not familiar with the lore and the found footage, the videos, the short movies that Kane Parsons did under Kane Pixels, you're going to miss a lot of those, a lot of the nuance and the references and how these backrooms even were discovered. And so that is a knock, but I highly recommend. I'm kind of working my way through them right now, and it is making me appreciate more of kind of the maturation of this world building. I feel like, Jazzy, you were more privy to some of the videos. Did you get a chance to watch any of those?
I did, and I think because I think my point of view with the movie changed because watching the YouTube videos, it did remind me of like an abandoned mall, a creepy office, church building, right? So I had the expectation that we all have, like we've all been to a place like that.
Yeah.
But then when I watched the movie, it wasn't about that per se. It was more about this dude's mental state.
Yeah.
So part of me that the old films, like you feel it, like with the clothes lying around, you just feel this darkness. You're like, this energy is not right.
Yeah.
And then it brought me back to like, yeah, I've been in a building where I'm like, I gotta get out of here. I'm not gonna go past the stop. But when I watched the movie, it's not like bad, but knowing the lore, I was like, yeah, let's go in this eerie building we've all been in. And it was like, wait, no, we're gonna do something a little different. And I was like, oh, okay.
Well, how they had him when he went in there, like for the second time, at least to us, and he had like the rope and everything like that. I was like, now we're talking.
Yeah.
It's like because I would have, if that was me, I would have went in for the first time and I would have been like, okay, let me make sure I can get out of here. And then I would probably went in and maybe like looked around, like maybe went up a little bit. But it's like I'm going to grab some rope, some fucking some Skittles, like some fucking Reese's Pieces. We're gonna fucking treat this shit like ET, man. We're gonna leave a goddamn trail so I can fucking follow my way back here. It's just once it got too big, because especially like when he's walking through and then he sees like that figure, and it would kind of look like he was just like approaching it. I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
And that same figure was in that eerie film, The Room, where that looked like the old footage. If you looked closely, top of the Jesus head, which looked like the guy symbolized what people think Jesus looks like.
Yeah.
It was the top of head, like mixed with clothes. And it's just like that just it almost felt scarier than the movie. What I mean is the old footage felt scary when he was back in the halls because the halls were so clean, so pristine. It was abandoned, but didn't look, quote unquote, abandoned, but was. And I think that the old footage kind of helped with that fear.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Dude, one quick thing I want to go to though, like kind of stood out to me, was like when he went in with the coworker and the boyfriend. And obviously the boyfriend is intrigued and they want to go down that steep little area.
That was a good scene.
And it's a very good, and it's a highlight. And honestly, like when like the thing starts coming out, he did it exactly, get the fuck out of there. But right when he gets back up, I'm like, and the thing starts pulling him. I'm like, bro, you have all these tools. You don't have a fucking knife. You don't have a fucking box cutter.
Yes.
What? I was just sitting there just like, I was like, maybe obviously you probably just need that death because you're just trying to up the ante and like the seriousness of the Backrooms. But that was just something. I'm like, maybe you could have just finessed that death in a different way. Could like maybe even snap, like he cuts the rope. And then maybe his arm is still there, and then he just grabs it because that motherfucker was huge.
We knew what was going to happen.
We're guessing that
the rope off.
The what?
We knew what was going to happen because the way he was just kind of chilling, I was like, "Take the rope off," and then finally he's like, "Oh, get this off me," and I'm like, "Take it off."
Yeah, because he did say he was like, "What type of knot did you put this in?" But I'm like, bro, you don't have a box cutter. Like, you're like. You don't have any sort of like tool like that, or like you went into the back room and you don't have anything sharp and pointy.
But that
like,
also, you notice too, each time, not gonna lie, like I thought he would take a moment to collect mentally like what he just went through. Like he just went through a wall. But you notice each time the camera let us know he went back in, he kept taking shit. Either he took it or was that thing's going away? Because you notice each time, remember all the chairs and the cabinets like right in front of him? But each time he went back in, it was less and less and less.
Yeah, that's
so
a
good point.
Like,
is this homie stealing stuff for his store? But then I'm shocked, like, he didn't have any really prepared tools. Like, he just really wasn't one to think things through.
And that kind of, like, lends to, like, a little bit of my negative was, like, how this movie represented, like, passage of time. So, like, when he went in the back rooms the first time, and he came out, and obviously he's getting chased by the monster, and he leaves. The next scene, he shows up at the therapist, and he already has like this map laid out of like the back rooms. But I'm like, you've obviously been in there a few times and gone exploring. But it's like the previous scene, we just saw you go in there for the first time. So it's like they should have did a better job of showing how many times he's actually been in there. And then once he's like trying to find the coworker and he finds her behind the wall and he sets the camera down and then she's like, turn around. You see the camera getting picked up and everything. From that, and then when the therapist goes into the back rooms and then you get the damn near Texas chainsaw type of dinner scene, I was like, he's obviously been in there for a while because he's discovered that you can eat these people and all this stuff. So I'm like, how much time has passed?
They should have been like 2 weeks later.
Well, you see the
later.
you see the mail like piling up. So I'm guessing, but I was just like, how many times has this dude gone into the back?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I definitely think the passage of time was you had to infer that, and yeah, it wasn't clearly explained. I definitely agree with that. But also makes me wonder too, just in terms of, because this is another thing when we are introduced to found footage, and even in a lot of the Kane Pixels, Async is wearing hazmat suits when they go into the back rooms.
Yeah.
Obviously, Clark and all the people who've entered or stumbled into this world are not. So it makes you wonder, what effect does that environment have on the human mind and perception of time, perception of reality? Like, what is the actual psychological toll being in this dimension? Because he does not look well when she first goes in there. He's like hiding behind the corner and she's looking at the drawing.
That's such like a meme now.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That is so funny.
It was hella creepy. But like the drawings were very unsettling when she walks there, and then his appearance, he looked like he had not slept.
Yeah.
He looked horrible.
Yeah.
And so I'm just wondering, to your point, how long have they been? Has he been in there? And also, how does time affect him there?
Yeah. Maybe they could have used some sort of symbol, like a clock or something like that on like a wall, like an old school clock. Or just like maybe just visually that you don't have to like explicitly say it like on the screen like 6 months later. They could have maybe shown something to show us like, ooh, it's been a while.
Well, and just to piggyback off of like the lore that exists before we got this movie on the big screen, is that there's an episode where Async employees are exploring the back rooms and they see a body that has been there for a long time. It looks like it, but has not decomposed. It's like bacteria. There was like a bacteria down there that like presumably that was down there that kind of like had seeped its way into the body. So like clearly like there's something down there.
Yeah.
The protection, the hazmat suits, I think blocked like how the back rooms can get into your head, and then there's fragments of it that they build. So I feel like it was a poison we couldn't see. Like, because remember at the beginning, the guy was like, help, I'm lost. I got separated. Like, I think he knew if he stayed too long or if his suit got cut, it would start happening to him. And then,
also, how did that dude get lost?
Even in real life, apparently, the real actors, from what I've read, I could be wrong, they got lost sometimes because of how big the set is.
Bro, it's like, you need to be on the buddy system.
Like, when he first walked in and he turned left and the right, in my mind, I was like, all right, turn left, pass it. Like, I tried to memorize it sitting in the theater, like, okay, you turn here. And then when we went through that little door, I was like, I thought it would not land back to where the stop sign was. I was like, okay, he got lucky.
But hella lucky.
But then being back at the therapist's office with the map, sharing us that he's been to a lot, we're like, okay, he went back. Like, it's like he discovered, oh, we can turn here, turn there. Because then remember at that weird dinner scene when she got there, he already knew the big monster to the point where he's like, oh, don't worry, he's not going to do nothing. And I'm like,
well, he thought.
And there was no window. So I think they wanted us to feel a little bit of what they feel like, because we don't know if it's day or night. Like, there's pools. Okay, how did water get?
The pools look creepy as hell.
Dead water. Don't go in that water. Don't jump in there. Dead water.
No, sir.
What do you think of the theory that that woman was like a version of his wife?
I've heard that.
Yeah, she's a redhead, and his wife was a redhead.
And there's like I'm not sure if like they would like confirm that or anything like that, but like people are saying like they're kind of running with it a little bit because because like they said like she was the only one that ran away from like obviously like the fucking monster that came.
Which is
the monstrous version of Clark.
Yes,
But then that also kind of makes me think of like I can run with I can run with that theory. But then I'm like, well, then who are those other two?
Who the other two? That
who are those?
No, he's like, you can eat them. I'm like, bro, did you eat someone in reality?
I was like, how do you stumble on that?
I was like, how did you
know you could do that?
How did you come to this conclusion?
Exactly.
The way he cut her head, I was like, okay,
oh my God, scalping her.
Because he was clearly not happy with the wife. I get it. It's his therapy session. This is his true feelings. This is how he feels. They're going through divorce, and she's at the house, and he's sleeping in the store. But when I thought he was just gonna cut her hair. He cut her her scalp, and I was like, "That's a little personal, a little bit." And she let him because the little person, he was turning the light on, but she kind of she didn't fight back.
Well,
even the one who was getting eaten.
That shit reminded me of Bubble Boy when that dude goes into the circus.
Oh God, not Bubble Boy.
But I think it's a theory that they want us to, we're okay thinking that, know, or just some redhead too. Because remember, she was behind the Christmas tree originally. They were in that room with the Christmas tree, which, by the way, spooked me out.
Those were eerie.
I've never been afraid of a Christmas tree till this movie. But I think it was, I don't know what the person with the lamp represented. So is that the wife? You know what I mean? We can't answer those.
Yeah.
How can we answer
I was saying, that is a good point because we're just guessing at that point.
Yeah, that's why I said I think it's just like a theory because then like if like you said, if that is the wife or a version of like from his mind, but then it's like, well, and who are the other two?
Exactly.
And he didn't make any sort of reference like in that. And
he didn't have other friends. He had one guy come in when he was in his office doing paperwork and drawing. Actually, he was drawing, looked like he wanted to be an architect. He was drawing like outlines.
Yeah. So it leaves a little bit, I guess, to...
So going back to the scene where Clark has returned from the back rooms, he's in his therapy setting, which, sidebar, all of the settings with him and the therapist are highlights for me. All those, like the dialogue is good, the tension is good. It feels like the tension is actually most effective at times in those scenes, because in this scene, right, as he's bringing out this map and he's trying to explain to her, it's like explaining a dog to someone who's never seen a dog, and the look on her face is becoming more and more concerned. And when he brings out the blueprint, like the map that he has created, she's just like, oh my God.
Have you been drinking?
It looked like she's trying to control it,
and he's just trying to explain this to her. And that scene was such a highlight for me. But I like how her storyline, they kind of dovetail nicely with his, where, her book, The Window Within, and when he calls her and leaves that voicemail about I found the window, that's such a creepy ass message. Also, like, did they get reception in the back rooms?
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I was thinking too. I was like,
where's he calling from?
Maybe he called right before he was going in or some shit.
Did he call from in there?
Was he in there?
Was his phone bill? Was it on?
I think he good reception in the back rooms.
Yeah. But like that was a really creepy scene. And of course, when she finally makes her way in there, that was just, we're really starting to dial the tension up again at that point.
The transition of, her showing the camera. Oh my God, this smoke got me. I didn't make sense. The transition from the therapy chair to her being in there. It was kind of interesting showing her childhood and how she wanted to peek out the newspaper, but the mom's like, no, you can't do that. So it was kind of cool. Oh, and the handprints.
Yes, that was a great
detail. It really wanted us to get to know her, that therapists too have their issues.
Yeah,
but
that little piece came in handy too.
Yeah, and then I like how he did kind of not call her out, but got her back with her own words of her commercial and her book, because I don't even think she took her own advice.
Yeah.
But until she got the courage to follow him, because then maybe even though she looked a little crazy and during the therapy session, she sat on it with her problems and then followed. Because in real life, I would have been like, I call someone. I don't think I would want to follow all the way.
Well, also I thought like just the token of her childhood trauma of the handprint being used at the end of this movie to like break through and actually like move forward. I thought like the symbolism of that was like effective for me in retrospect.
Yeah.
Because that whole chase scene of the monster Clark chasing her, that was a big highlight for me. Very suspenseful. It felt very much true to some of the short films he did before this, where you have these really intense chase scenes that are just very hide and seek, but very effective. It took me back to that. And just like the actual set design during that chase scene was really good for me.
Dude, like from the dinner, like I said, from the dinner scene, like I feel like it's just like everything gets kind of ratcheted up.
Yeah.
And
like you're getting the performances from the two actors. You're getting the creepy setting with the characters. That's why I said it's very Texas Chainsaw-esque if you've seen that. And then once the monster comes in, you hear the footsteps, and then he takes that big ass crunch out of his neck, And dude, like when she slithers out, and then you're getting those shots of like the monster chasing her, and then he's dragging Chiwetel's character. Oh my god, dude! And then once like she's kind of like cornered and in that well lit room, she finally just decides it's time to just square up with this fucking thing. That's kind of what I was thinking too, because I'm like, girl, ain't no. I guess you either got to just keep running and running until you somehow, because obviously, like once she gets into a certain point, the Backrooms looks endless, damn near.
Yeah.
And so it's like you're just gonna have to square up with this fucking monster, and she did. She pretty much gets the upper hand on it, knocks his leg out, crushes his face with that little imprint. But then she ends up getting gassed, and that's when we don't get introduced to Duplass's character. You've seen him kind of like previously, but this is kind of like where it also like lends into a little bit of negative, because I'm like, things are like really kind of like getting good right now too, and the movie ends pretty much because like after she gets gassed, she wakes up with Duplass's character, and she's getting interviewed, and she's trying to figure out where she's at and everything, and like what's going to happen to her. Then pretty much the movie ends.
It shows she made it, and this is what happens if someone makes it through their quote unquote trauma. But then the way he's like, "Oh no, we need you," and I'm like, "Wait a minute, like she made it, let her out. She did it. She conquered the fear. She fought this monster,
and you see the monster laying in the room."
Yeah, but then it's like he forced her back to just sit there, and I'm like, no, like
are they still in the back rooms too?
Yeah, they are, I believe. I thought his answer was very menacing, where she asked him, "What's going to happen to me?" He's like, "It's not up to me."
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh,
you get to go home with your family and sit on the couch watch TV. Why does she need to stay?"
But then also, that's what made me think of like, does he even go home? Is his home is his home in the back rooms too? Like. That's what I was thinking too.
I was
like
TV, and
I was just thinking. I was like, when I saw like just like that maze too, I was just like, is this guy like, was he like bored in the back rooms or some shit like that? But I was like, I don't know.
One of the apartments we saw before she fell to her death.
Yeah,
oh, man.
She didn't fall to her death, but looked like she one slip.
Oh, dude, I was also like, bitch, you gotta move a little bit. You hear that monster busting down that door.
She was running from the monster, and then the couch. I'm like, how do you find a hole in this couch? Just how her foot got stuck. I was like, you gotta be kidding.
I know. I was annoyed in that. I was like, girl.
On the arms of the,
girl.
But like, when I was thinking when she was climbing up the staircase,
that
one little door. No, I was thinking when Chiwetel was like getting out when he was getting chased, but those 3 knobs, and the first one was locked, the second one was locked, and the third one worked. I was like, bitch, you better hope to God that door unlocks. Because otherwise, you're going to have to do some Laura Croft, Indiana Jones swinging shit to try to get down to that second floor.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was, when Pirate Clark is busting through that door, it gave me Shining vibes,
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
As she's like climbing up. It felt like, just the whole view and how endless it was.
Yeah.
That was very spooky. Again, the building of this world visually is such a highlight for me. It has a very late capitalist, kind of haunting look to it. I feel like I'm at Lloyd Center. I'm like, oh God, this is a horror movie. Everything's shut. I can't get out. It's just bottomless. But yeah, I think, man, the visuals of this, where she's trying to escape and we just see the levels, and also when Clark is after Bobby is taken. When he's traveling back through the back rooms and we see like the water and all that, like it seemed like a bathroom kind of almost, but that was like really eerie.
Yeah,
a family house,
the tree.
Yes, I literally jumped. I remember, because you go from like remember earlier in the movie he said, "Oh, there's pools." I remember him commenting on that, and then you get there, I'm like, "Oh, there are pools." and then the Christmas tree room, it really scared me.
Yeah.
But something to chat about.
This mini tree. I'm like, what
when the girl, like when he brought the 2 down there, which obviously in real life he didn't care enough about them. He just needed bodies there.
Yeah.
Why was it that she saw glass and he saw a wall?
That wasn't clear to me.
Because
either.
and now later we can be like, oh, his mental state. But okay, so he can't see the glass. Like I really wish we kind of had
more of a clarification.
Yeah,
they could have just showed it from her perspective. Just cut to the next scene and they see it from her.
Well,
I know that they're going for the found footage look.
I think that seeing the camera get picked up and not seeing who was really great. I don't want to lose that.
Yeah.
Who picked it up?
Well, maybe,
exactly.
Because we have guesses. We know it wasn't her boyfriend.
It's probably Pirate Clark.
The redhead.
Well, who picked up the camera?
Yeah.
Well, wasn't it? It had to be. I think it was Pirate Clark.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Like, it wasn't like the height kind of like.
It
difference?
did.
Do you think
Yeah.
so?
That's what I kind of thought.
That's how I took
Is that why he's like, oh, he won't hurt us? Because he, picked up the camera and became friends? Like,
well, maybe like he was like, that's why like maybe with the whole passage of time, it's like, how did he get friendly with this thing? Maybe he was friendly.
Maybe he was
and maybe he just,
yeah.
he crossed the line. Like, you brought a
No,
newcomer into this, man. Like, this bitch does not belong here.
We briefly chatted about this while we were waiting for the Criterion line, the longest line in the world, was when he... God, dude, again, this weed is like... hold on. Talking to, like, when he was through the glass, she saw through the glass, he saw through the wall. Do you remember the conversation he had with his therapist? And I felt like that was a breakthrough because she went from being afraid, she's just conquering everything, to like feeling confident, be like, you know what? No, you're the problem. You need to work through that. That changed something. Because
in him too. Yeah,
in him too.
Yeah.
Because I think that's when the pirate thing went from being pirate person, went from being nice to not nice.
And murderous.
Because the way she went after him, he needed a little bit of hard shoes. I'm like, dude, you brought these two people down here. They didn't deserve this. And you need to work out your issues. He's not afraid
Stop blaming everyone.
Everyone. Like, yeah, the divorce sucked. It takes two. But he was kind of like making it, the world's out to get me.
Yeah.
And when she finally broke through to him, I think the pirate guy was like, wait a minute. This isn't what, I think he changed too.
Yeah, I think when I'd kind of like.
I agree.
I think
that there's something to that for sure.
Yeah. Remember, he let her go. He's like, "Fine, I'll let you go."
Yeah, when that happened, like it had some sort of breakthrough for him. Yeah, something switched, and that made the pirate do switch. Which, yeah, I can fuck with that.
Because he didn't run like the girl; she ran. And that's why we think it's the right, for that reason. Because she knew it's like she knew he was bad. He didn't run because he just was so confident. So I'm like, she's running, you're not. What's going on here? And then that's when I felt like...
Yeah, that was a little odd, too.
You know what I mean?
It made me wonder if there's something to be said that was Clark's wife.
Yeah.
Because you notice the eyes were kind of, like, were multiple eyes. And somebody theorized that the reason that it duplicated that version of her is because she was shaking her head no at Clark,
Ooh.
Like, so I don't know if that's... I mean, I don't know about that. But it is food for thought.
Yeah.
So, what was I going to say about?
I swear it's that.
It's the weed. It got
the weed. It got me.
Where did my thought go?
Well, like one thing that got me thinking.
Another thing that got me.
Here's another thing. Well, because obviously you find out the monster is Clark and his pirate. Is it Clark? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Pirate Clark.
Pirate Clark. But then that makes me think of, what was originally chasing him, and like, or not him, like that?
Async.
But we never saw. We only heard.
Well, I got it. Hold on. Let's dive here.
Well, we got to dive into the weeds.
I was watching some breakdowns, and some of the stills that I had seen from the movie, you can see the peg leg when you slow it down enough. That is chasing the async employee. This becomes a plot problem for me that maybe I'm not understanding it right, but that takes place. I thought that takes place before Clark did the commercial.
That's what I'm thinking.
And if so, how is that world duplicate? How are the Backrooms duplicating that? That doesn't make sense to me, unless unless it has access to different points in time.
Well, don't forget the therapist.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's when I think that's just opening up like something that could be like even like way a little bit too confusing. Because that's what I'm like, what was chasing that dude at the beginning? Because obviously,
at the beginning, it was something scary.
Yeah, you're setting something up really good, and if that was Pirate Clark, or I guess you're just thinking like, what was that? Just some other version of like something in that dude's mind?
But he has the hazmat suit on.
It's his own like hazmat monster that's chasing him.
You're right, because if he wasn't in there, how would it know of Pirate? The only connections to think of is the doctor who saw the commercials.
Right, but that was after. But that was after the footage we get in the beginning. Because so something that I have heard in the lore is that I don't know if I haven't gotten to this point, so I can't confirm this. But one thing that I feel like I had read was that the back rooms can take you in different points in time, and so if that is true, I haven't gotten to that, and that's a part of the lore that again, while it's very interesting, especially to see it in its from episode 1 from the early stage of development of this concept to now, the fact that I need to be privy to the lore in order to understand the story, it does hurt my score.
Yeah.
You don't want to have homework whenever you're going into a project.
Yeah.
Like it should only be like to enhance it. It shouldn't become mandatory.
Well, and again, like this movie is very much sci-fi, right? There's a sci-fi element to this. And I don't expect sci-fi to give me all the answers. That's not what I'm saying. In Alien, for instance, we go into this derelict ship and we see all these eggs. We don't have any. We don't get an answer about why this ship is here, why it's transporting these eggs.
Yeah.
We don't get any of that, and I'm okay with that because the story it exists fine enough without that detail. I'm okay with that unanswered question being unanswered.
Yeah,
you know, that question being unanswered. So like, but with this, there were times where I was just like, I got questions, dog.
Yeah, we got questions.
Well,
they did it on purpose.
Yeah, 100%.
And
it's deliberate.
Like once we even get to the end, where I'm just like, well, how did Duplass's character even get into like the back room? That's why I was thinking, I'm like, were they still in the back rooms like when they were having like their little interrogation? So I'm like, I want to see like is there like one exit like where Chiwetel Clark where he found it? That's why I'm like, where he said there was like multiple I guess points like popping up, and he doesn't know like how to stop them and stuff. And so it's like maybe they could even have shown that. Like it's like show us like another endpoint or exit.
Because when he was with his family, I'm like, okay, he has a full-time job. He goes home. Then what? Like, who is he even? And they find out that it's connected to that store.
Yeah. You know, I think was really interesting. Again, like going back to lore, something that I do really appreciate is like once you haven't gone and watched some of those more, I'm more understanding. Okay, what Async is. Async was traditionally like an MRI company, right? They were doing some tests on like an anti-magnetic machinery or technology, and they end up gaining access to the back rooms. And we see, I mean, Kane Parsons was making these videos with using Blender, free 3D software technology, but he was also doing filming a lot of this too as well and doing practical effects. But like he was able to build out this world, and it's incredible to actually like kind of see that somebody who's in their teenage years doing this. I mean, and a big shout out that I got to give to this guy. Like, I have a lot of respect for him, and I have a lot of respect for this movie. I do really appreciate this movie and the success that it's having. But I mean, this kid, he's directing this movie at 20 years old, and he didn't have a shadow director over his shoulder, as I'm understanding it, right? It wasn't like Steven Spielberg and Poltergeist, right? You know, he's making the key decisions. I mean, when I read, just to kind of flesh out how much he'd built out this world, he sent one of the, I think it was one of the designers, files from Blender of all the work that he'd done with building out these back rooms. And it was too big to open. I mean, he had so many files that he was sending to this man, just like conceptually of what this world would look like and what he's done. And yeah, I mean, I'm congrats to him on hitting it out the park on this movie. And also, I'm definitely going to be following his career.
Well, honestly, like a big shout out to just like these newer, like as horror creators, because like Talk to Me, like I'm not saying like maybe they started the whole thing, but it's like they were some like YouTube creators as well. Even like Shelby Oaks, that when it didn't get as much like notoriety as like this has gotten. Even Obsession that's come out.
Oh my god, amazing! By the way,
dude, honestly, like,
have
you seen Obsession yet?
I haven't seen it yet.
It's amazing.
Have you seen it?
Oh yeah.
Are you more of a Obsession or Backrooms?
I don't want to ever compare.
They're so different.
They're very different.
They're versus, so one's got to win.
I did love Obsession because of it was creative. I love Backrooms because the aesthetic, it reminds me of nostalgic, but Obsession is amazing. And if you guys talk about that, I have to talk about that with you guys.
Well, like I've seen Obsession. I'm definitely more of an Obsession person. Like I'm not going to say like this is like Obsession is a way better film, but it definitely fits more of my style a little bit.
But it's nice to see those young. They really are young. They're like
literally.
But they started doing comedy on Instagram and then YouTube. So it's kind of cool how social media is coming for these young folks. Like they're using it to their advantage to be creative and not have some shadow lord Hollywood person down their throat. So they could be free.
Doing it on small budgets too. Like
Yeah.
out.
Well, 1,000%. But something that I was going to say, I mean, the YouTube to the big screen pipeline has been really interesting. I mean, I remember
Insecure.
I noticed this. Well, I mean, specifically with horror, but yes, to your point, indeed. As I remember around 2016. There was a movie called Lights Out that was built off of a YouTube short, and I remember watching the short. I was like, "Yo, this is wild." And then when they flushed out that concept and brought it to the big screen, I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. I was a big fan. If you all haven't seen Lights Out, definitely recommend checking it out. If you haven't seen it in a while, I recommend revisiting it. It is a good horror movie.
That's another movie. It got a 4.9 budget. Box office 148.9, 74% on Rotten Tomatoes with a 61 from the fans. Dude. It was like I saw it too. It was very solid.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the YouTube. There's a lot of cool things happening in the horror space on YouTube, and Kane Parsons, man. I love what he's done with building out this world. I was a little disappointed with the pirate Clark being the main villain, but I do appreciate, like, stepping back from it, I do appreciate, like, the villain being a manifestation of in some ways, the saddest and angriest parts of Clark.
Do you think it should have been something we've never seen?
I was kind of hoping for because this feels like a supernatural space almost, right?
Yeah.
And I was kind of hoping for something a little bit more formidable, or something perhaps that's capable of taking on the form of, like, a caricaturized versions of, like, your fears.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Like, if it had that ability to kind of, like, morph itself into that, like, manifest that, I think that would be very compelling.
Like the drawing on the wall, it was just black. And
like them shits from Harry Potter series.
All the Jimmy Gordon's, that's Stranger Things, the Death Eaters.
Yeah, something like that, where they're able to, like, feed off of like that. Like, I don't know, like, if I wanted something more like scale on a grander scale as far as, like, the antagonist, the villain, because the antagonist, frankly, is Clark, and that's. I do appreciate that storyline. I thought that was a rich and, like, and complex storyline, and I did like empathize with him at moments, especially very early on. Yeah. He really lost me when he started eating people. I was like, yo, he ain't well.
you might be able to open it up. At least it clears up the kind of the plot hole that we were talking about, like with the monster at the beginning and, like, the Pirate Clark. If it was just like some sort of, like, and you still could have had all of, like, the metaphors with him mentally and what he's going through, and still had the monster being just something, like, I'm not saying supernatural, but it was just like some creature or whatever.
Yeah.
But then you can also open that up for future movies. If it's like some sort of creature, like, you can have some, like, the scientists are going after, like, what those creatures are that's haunting the Backrooms or some type of shit. But to me, like, I was kind of hoping for that as well, because like coming from the movie after it ends, like, I was left with that, like, well, if Pirate Clark is the monster, then who was chasing the doctor at the beginning? Because that just, the time just doesn't quite add up for me. So, like, it just, I feel like overall, like, the movie it's a solid film, but, like, I have just a few questions that I feel like are unanswered from this alone film. Now, I feel like in maybe Backrooms 2, we'll explore and potentially clarify those. So, like, maybe, like, once, like, another sequel, another movie comes out, this could be a little bit more positive, at least for me.
Yeah, and one thing I would say, because I mean, I know, I think you would really appreciate doing a deep dive and watching the Kane Pixels. I think there's, like, less than 3 hours, but, like, to just kind of have that context, because, for example, Async, after discovering these Backrooms, or the complex, what they call it, when you're watching these Kane Pixels short films, you're actually also getting an understanding of their motives, but also, like, their policies. So, for example, for employees, it's required that you go down there with a minimum of 3 other employees. No solo trips. You have to be there with 3 or more, just because. So there's clearly, because they set up those cameras, because They are aware of this space. They know things are happening down there.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they also talk about is the motive, right? They're eyeing this for profit. They're thinking this is unlimited space, potentially great for storage, housing.
Yeah.
Like, ain't nobody living in no windowless, sunless. What the fuck?
Yeah.
But like, you get more of a primarily from Async's POV, but not exclusively. You get more of like, you kind of get grounded in this world in a more nuanced way that I think you would really dig.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was kind of like leaning into. Like, I was like, maybe I'll dig in way into the weeds. I was like, yeah, he had his family, but it's like maybe he's also living in the back rooms at some place, like somewhere else. And like,
I mean,
the cameras could be set up, you don't know, wherever, like everywhere. So he's just picking up.
Because remember how they found her? There is like just a wall dividing it.
Yeah.
From back rooms to their office. Because they found her quick when they did. I was like, wait, who are all these? Like, it took me a bit to be like, wait, who? Wait, are they real? Like, what's going on?
For real.
So they're close. He could easily be, like a house attached to the business. Cause we didn't see all of it. We just saw a room, and I thought, she was at least also gonna fight a bit more or show that she's like. If someone told me, "Oh, you're not leaving," I would punch them. I would get violent. Like, I would be like, "I am not going through that again." Like, I wouldn't just be like, "What? What do you mean?" Like, I would just be like, "Let me out," or
Yeah.
But. Yeah, that's just a thought too.
One other thing I listened to, like somebody else's review on YouTube, was like, it wasn't like coincidence when they said like that company does MRIs, because they're like saying like how like the MRI works, like it makes a copy of you and like it has like the layers, and then when they visually represented it with like her home, and then how it got like it just keeps dropping, and it just broken down little by little, and then eventually it's like kind of a Backrooms copy. Yeah. And so like maybe some of those other rooms are just like, obviously they're imperfect and everything, but it's like trying to like make copies.
And the more copies, it turned into more of a mess, like a paper trail. Like, because each time they showed it, I was like, oh, this is her stuff. And I'm like, whoa. Getting a little.
So it's like, on one hand, I feel like he's doing a really good job of building a world and something that's interesting and you can build off of. And it's like, all right, well, what's this? How is that happening? Blah, blah, blah. But then also it's like, I'm left with like, well, I just feel like this movie just wasn't complete. I'm just left with like too many questions of like, you introduced, I think, too many things where I'm just like, all right, you didn't shore up enough of your questions that you gave us.
That's the thing, man. I think the biggest knock that I have about this movie is that you have to be familiar with it. It behooves you to be familiar with the lore of this world. And I don't know that a lot of people are going to invest that time. Frankly, because I feel like the final product we got feels like an incomplete picture.
Yeah.
Or it could be the beginning for those who don't know the lore. And
no, true.
Like, oh, movie number 2.
Yeah.
Like, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Because it is, if you don't know, you're like, what? But for those who don't, we could be like, oh, movie number 2 or the series is going to answer all that.
I think for those who, I think for those who lean into the movie just off of this alone, I think power to them. I think that, you're more like, I can't wait to see where we go further in this world. I think for people like, I think the three of us, I do need a little bit more detail. And as I'm getting more of that, I appreciate the movie more.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's why I said sit with it, because it's after it was very like, what? But then later you do start to kind of, you have time to really sit and think about the things you forgot you just watched, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's certain, like even when you just said camera, I was like, oh, right, there were cameras in there.
Yeah.
Like, and at the beginning, I remember I'm like, man, this person's watching them. Go help. Like, even that, like, you forget, and then that brings up other thoughts and theories.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that I also really appreciate about this movie, because when I first got out this movie, I was like, man, I don't know. I'll be frank, man. I was really there. I was like, man, I don't know about this one, man. But as I've kind of had more time to sit with it and then just kind of read and listen to other people to kind of break this down, I think something that I do really appreciate about this movie is the relationship between memory and trauma and how that is reproduced in the back rooms. I think that is possibly like the most important idea, or one of the most important ideas that I think this movie is trying to grapple with. But there's a lot that I can really praise about this movie. I mean, I'm down to pivot to scores if you guys are.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Pivot to scores.
Yeah.
I for me, like, I came in here. I came into this movie with 1 score before, and then like kind of diving more and more into this world. I'm more inclined to give it a 3.5. I think
Out of 5?
out of 5.
Okay.
I think that I mean, kudos to Kane for making this movie. This is, we talked about how it's doing at the box office. On a budget of 10 mil, it's making 146 and still going. It's only been out since the 29th.
Yeah.
Yeah, my theater was kind of packed. Not like super packed, but I was like,
ours was. I mean, it wasn't a big theater, but it was packed.
I'm glad
it was
people are
busy.
going back to the movies.
Yeah,
dude, movies have been killing it lately.
Like,
I love that too. I love the sci-fi aspect after this. I love just the lore and just the fun deep diving behind the making of this, like this whole concept. And it's also this movie, while it does feel very nostalgic aesthetically, it's very much a product of internet fan culture.
Did you say internet?
Internet.
Hey.
Ew.
Back shots with the internet.
The internet.
You're like, nope, didn't say it.
Damn, that's great.
Yeah.
Like the internet fan culture and just people gravitating towards this one image that somebody posted on 4chan has like blossomed into this really fun ecosystem of sci-fi horror / psychological thriller. For me, like this movie, where it did detract from me is that this was billed a horror, and while it was very effective with tension, it didn't really do enough for me on the horror side. Yeah. I think it did have some really bright moments. We talked about the chase scene at the end. Just the general, this kind of atmospheric like dread that just fills you, like kind of overwhelms you once you step into these just cavernous, endless maze. So that was super effective for me. But it didn't deliver enough or consistently enough from the horror side. And I was a little disappointed in the directions that they took with kind of like what they decided to like manifest the horror. But that said, yeah, I'm at a 3.5. I recommend checking out this movie. I will rewatch this movie, I think. And to me, this is another feather in A24's cap. And also, just to step back, we're in a really good spot right now with horror. I hope people appreciate that. I mean, obviously, the two names that are really front lines are, just really topical right now are Backrooms and Obsession. But we seem to be in a really great place. Movie-wise, I've been really happy with where we've been so far this year, and I'm really excited for the rest of this year.
So you had that Hokum and Passengers.
Hokum was cool.
Send Help, like I think all those have like gotten decent reviews. Like great reviews.
A movie that I thought felt again like undercooked at certain points, but I thought was atmospherically really great. Shelby Oaks.
Yeah.
That was a really strong one for me in that regard. But the writing wasn't as good, so I'm not comparing in that sense. But anyways, 3.5. That's what I got. What about you, Jazzy?
Go for it.
Oh man, it's funny. I was looking at my notes, and one of the things I wrote was, "But why was there a pirate already at the beginning?"
The $1 million question.
Anyway, it's something I'm like, oh, and I don't have a pen now, so this is written here first. But I would have to say 4 out of 5.
Okay.
Not because of how I knew what was on YouTube already. It's because the 4 is mostly because it's just original, and I'm tired of a remake. I really am. Like, keep happening, but this was just finally original writing. And not a full 5 because of some questions that I felt we did need to know instead of just being all mysterious. I'm like, no, we should have, had a little peek into why this happened. But original writing, aesthetically pleasing, and the fact that it was the type of movie that we're still talking about. Like, I do love a movie where I'm not just like, well, that was good, and never think of it again. This one, I'm like, I want to think about it. I want to read about it. I want to go back to the YouTube stuff.
See other people's theories.
I'm like, yeah, I love hearing other theories, and like, what if I caught something or hear something I didn't catch? So that's why it's kind of a high score. Because I don't know, if we're still talking about it, they do their job. Like the writing, the acting did great. One of the women, the girl, she's from Shrinking, the show on Apple TV. It was just cool seeing, the young folks get their break, and that guy was in one of the Game of Thrones. He played one of the King's brothers. But it's like I've just like seeing young stars like blossoming, and it's not actors we are too familiar with. Like, yes, we recognize homeboy from 12 Years a Slave,
Chiwetel,
but it wasn't like Idris. You know what I mean? Like, it's anyway. So it's not a full 5 because there's some stuff I'm like, huh, but. Everything else, I was like, dang, I've not seen a movie like this before.
Yeah.
So that's my score.
Man, I'm with my score, I was like same with you, Sir Fraser, where like when I left the theater, I had one score in my head. I had a 2.5 in my head.
Oh wow, okay.
Because I was so mad how it ended.
About to have
because I'm like, well, first of all, like I'm with you where like I didn't get enough of like the horror. Where it's like when you're getting to this like elevated horror types, it can, I don't know, like because you're getting like genre mixing a little bit because it's just like I just wasn't like scared. Like it's very atmospheric, like the vibe, like when he's walking around and eerie, and like I can appreciate it, but it's just not really my taste sometimes because I'm like I can get the vibe and all that, but it's like. My horror is like when that thing is chasing you and then you look behind and you still see the thing like still creeping up. I'm like, that's the shit that gets the goosebumps like run up on my neck and everything. So I'm like, when they actually did like the chase scene where they're at the beginning or when Chiwetel's getting chased a bit or when the other character, when the female, the therapist is getting chased, I'm like, man, you guys kind of really hit it. But like,
yeah.
I don't know, like I was just left with like too many questions because like I was like starting to dig it, but then it was almost like Bring Her Back, where I'm like, you left me with such a bad taste in my mouth where I'm like, fuck you, man. And so I'm like, when I had so many questions, I'm like, so where is she? Is she safe? Is she in the back rooms? What do you mean you're not going to let her go? How did you get here? Who the fuck are you? Like,
who the fuck are those guys?
Exactly. I'm almost like in the back rooms with her. It's like, I need some motherfucking questions right now. Let me see a manager.
Yeah.
But so like, but my official score, I'm giving it a solid 3, which I would recommend to like horror fans just because like if you're like wanted to check out anything new and fresh and like different vibe. But like also like I said, when they're building out a lore, like you're gonna be left with some questions, but also speaking with other people and maybe even doing some more research, which it's a positive, but it's also a hindrance too because you don't want to leave people with like homework to do. But it also provides a nice fun conversation to like I said, to like open up some theories, whether it's like talking about in the dinner scene when she finally like let him know like what you're talking about. It's like I never even heard about that one, but I can fuck with that. Or the woman being a version of Clark's wife and everything.
Ex-wife,
so it's like some stuff is like you have to like I feel like just have to talk with other people or I do like some research. There are some things where I'm like you can definitely pick up, and then some stuff where you're going to be left like what the fuck was that all about?
Yeah.
But overall, now that I'm like letting the dust settle a little bit, talking about the film and actually seeing the film, it's a solid 3 for me. I would watch it again just so I can maybe pick up on like certain things and whatnot. But there are some stuff where I was just kind of screaming in my head like, why the hell like Chiwetel, bro, you're a brother. You should not just be wandering around a random ass room with no rope at the beginning.
No weapon.
Yeah, B, you should be having some sort of knife, box cutter, a gun, something to protect yourself if you're wandering some random room.
Sawed off.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, like even if you're going, you find some abandoned building, you're just gonna go walking around there with nothing to protect you. Like,
but he was
come
also
on.
a jerk too. Like the more, not even because of his story, but like you knew it just by bringing the kids on their day off. I'm like, kind of, he doesn't. I care about no one.
Exactly, and you're putting them in like too, like something was chasing you enough to get your fucking goosebumps standing, and so like you weren't standing around. You crawled your little monkey ass up into that little goddamn little 2x4
to go back to the back of the stop sign.
Yeah,
so
exactly. So like you got scared, and you were inviting these guys down there, and you don't have something to protect yourself. Like
and the whole time she's like, I have a bad feeling about this. Follow your instincts, people.
It's like it brings up Bring Her Back from that movie type of feelings where like in that movie she was doing just some crazy stuff to children, and I'm like, I'm gonna ride with this because I'm gonna need to get her comeuppance at the end of this.
That movie stressed me out, by the way.
Oh, you seen it?
I've seen it.
See, like how they did that woman, like I wanted her to die. Yeah, she had to die violently.
I left so very angry. I have not left a movie theater, saw at Lowerhurst, that angry before, like emotionally.
Like the bad guy wins.
Yeah, it's like this isn't right. Like you just.
See, I know I'm not crazy then.
No, you're not.
Okay.
Like watched that movie, it just infuriated me, and probably because children were involved.
It's like King Joffrey getting away with it.
I mean,
we're living
this,
happily
but
ever
she's
after.
worse than him in a way.
Like,
but
no,
yeah,
this cannot happen. This can't stand.
I was just so emotionally upset because I was just like, how is she constantly winning and winning and like it? I was really, and I was with friends, so I had to calm down because like they didn't care as much. But I am, what do they call it? Whatever they call us when you really care about the movies.
Like an empath or something? Oh, you care about the movies.
Yeah. I mean, I was so invested with the characters. It felt like I was there and I wanted to just scream and yell.
Yeah.
And
the boy, though, that like he did the acting, the prosthetics, the makeup, whatever. It's like the movie's not bad, but it's like you took this character and you just dropped the ball with like how you deal with like how she's going to be left with.
And I get that with Clark too. Like I get like the more you explain that comparison, I am upset at him because I'm just like I'm disappointed in you. I want him to bounce back from the pirate commercial and like even the other commercial. That guy's like on the grass, like trying to sell furniture. No one's buying that anymore.
And honestly, I kind of thought like it was going to be some sort of Inception type of thing. Where it's like, because he's an architect, and where like I thought like he was going to be
drawing.
Yeah, he was going to stay back there, and like you're going to see like maybe what he's done. Like, come see what I built. I'm an architect again. Like, like I don't know. You could see some.
So all these power tools.
Yeah, it's like we kept. There's hope. We had hope, and then the movie's like, no, that's not happening.
Yeah. But overall, like, it's a solid film. Definitely going to be looking for Kane Parsons, like what he does next. Backrooms 2's already greenlit, and they're going to be working on that. So I will see the sequel, and hopefully, like, they answer some questions, and also like just do a better job of like in a movie, you can still like have unanswered questions, but like you just can't have too many, in my opinion.
Yeah, you can't take it for granted that your fans have, or that people you can't take it for granted that people are stepping into this familiar with your previous work.
Yeah.
But to his credit, I mean, on the other side of that, I do want to acknowledge he cultivated this world and built this fan base, and and them showing up is reflected in the box office numbers.
Yeah.
Clearly, he's done a great job of just building this fan base organically, and again, like I said, it's translated to the success at this level in Hollywood.
Yeah,
I definitely gotta respect that hustle
for sure, man.
But that's our episode for this week.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, Jazzy.
Yeah, glad to be here.
And we'll catch y'all next week.
Peace.